Yeah, here we go. We're live. Congratulations, Rumble and YouTube. We've got a fucking 5 minutes to drink a delicious drink with Dr. Stover. He's coming on. He solves all my problems. I need help desperately. I don't look this good because a fluke chance. Stover, the doctor, helps me every day. We've got delicious homemade moonshine. Actually, that's just water. I need to add me moonshine. We'll bring on the doctor. Here we go. Yeah. What are
What
you
up?
drinking, good sir?
I've got it's seltzer on ice with a big straw. I like to fill this with ice before a stream and just pour a couple seltzers in there.
What
And
exactly is a salsa?
it is a
Like a vodka,
it's like a let's see what I don't really that's a
gin,
good
vodka.
question. It's gluten free with 5% alcohol by volume, 100 calories. Now I don't care about any of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's tasty, gets you drunk. I guess that's the main thing.
Yeah, it has alcohol, some cane sugar,
If you can
natural
avoid
flavors.
some calories, that's all. That's pretty good. But
Well, what happened was before I became a doctor prescribed me some medicine after I was in a bad motorcycle accident in my early 20s, and I was taking the meds for pain, and
yeah,
didn't tell me. I regret it, but it was pretty bad for a couple of years until I was done with all my physical therapy and stuff. But it burnt a hole in my stomach, and so what happened was I would drink beer and bread and things, and there's a like how drugs fit into the receptors in your brains to like give you dopamine and stuff. It's the same kind of concept, but these proteins that are in gluten fit through the hole in the little hole in my stomach and go directly in my bloodstream. So I was getting really tired and lethargic and stuff. So I stopped drinking beer and eating bread for a couple of years, and I healed my stomach up. But now, oddly enough, since I went off beer for so long, I like this. I don't know, like it's my new habit is drinking the
nah,
seltzers.
sweet.
And beer tastes weird to me, but I'll have one or two. It's not as it messed up my brain not having it for so long.
Welcome, g'day, mate from Canada. We've got a snow convict. Coherent nonsense, great name. Yeah, that's sick, bro. So you're in a motorbike accident, fucked you up when you were in your early, like, 20s.
Yeah, I probably was like 24. I had
What
spent
did
all
you break?
summer remodeling, refinishing this old classic BMW Airhead, the thing. I just love that bike. And I spent the whole summer fixing up, taking it for a cruise out in California, where I went to college at the time. And some moron just went on the wrong side of the road. I barely had a minute head on, and I just flew. All I remember is just flying and then waking up in the hospital. But I
That's
had my
fucked,
helmet on.
bro.
I would have died if I
Yeah,
didn't have my helmet on.
nice, nice. We seen a guy crash his motorbike, and well, he must have just come off the bike, fucking dead on the side of the road, and we like drove past. There was like 10 people, helping with the guy, but now it's like every day. This happened 4 years ago, and every day you drive past, he's got a cross. The family's still putting fresh flowers out. Like it's an amazing. God bless that family. Like I think it's a great reminder when we drive past fucking them crosses and the flowers. It's like fuck, we got to be careful. Like I've lost mates in car accidents and shit when I was younger in high school, and mates like kill themselves and kill other people in cars.
Yeah.
Fucking dangerous shit. Like horrible. And then obviously you went through this fucking journey of like dealing with pain and fucking
Oh yeah.
healing your body.
Yeah, it was so bad. I really it was like I'm so happy it went away. And oddly enough, the I just stopped doing all the things. The doctors made me think I could never do so many things again. And as I was restricting myself from lifting really heavy things to be careful with my lower back, because I'm bone on bone to this day, where it broke, it was too risky to do the spinal fusion. And everyone I spoke to that had that same spinal fusion said, don't do it. It's basically like your spine doesn't bend anymore. You want to touch, but you could probably barely touch your kneecaps versus like, let alone your toes.
Yeah.
So it was just like this inescapable pain. Like I would just be it didn't matter if I was laying down with my legs elevated. I bought an inversion table, and the only time that I found any relief was literally hanging upside down. But you can only hang upside down with the blood rushing to your head for so long. But I used to lock my iPad, set it upside down, and hang like a bat to take off because to elongate my spine to get the pressure off of the nerves.
Damn.
And people make fun of me, but I've never been a yoga guy. I've never been a liberal. I've never been a hippie. But the doctors told me it'd take me 2 years to learn, to be right. And they said I'd probably walk with a limp. And she's like, there's a chance. And I was like, 2 years I didn't want to be on the government dole. So I devised a plan to get paid while I did my physical therapy. So I went through and did a yoga teacher 6-month thing. So while I was doing this stupid yoga thing, I hated the people. I hated my teachers, but I went and did yoga every day to get certified as a yoga instructor. And then I went and taught yoga. And then as soon as I stopped having pain, I still kind of had pain, but as soon as I was I fed up pretty much with the hippies and all the bullshit and the fake, they're all so full of shit. Like they talk about all this spiritual stuff, but they're not. It's basically spiritual capitalism. And it was before virtue signaling was a word, but that's what it was. And I saw right through everybody's bullshit, and I just hated the community. But I felt, I got what I needed out of the thing, and I was making a little bit. You don't get paid a lot doing it, but I was making money, getting better. And then I went into construction, and as soon as I started doing construction, way better than now I do some things differently, I'll have a little dolly or something sometimes to pull out instead of carrying it if I'm feeling like I'm on the edge. But as soon as I started doing all the things that they told me not to do, I thought I'd never be able to have a blue collar job if I wanted. And as soon as I did that, all my muscles, my man muscles, I'm skinny, but pain went away like a miracle.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That's sick, bro. Yeah, because I got a few stories. My younger brother, he did a disc, needed a full disc replacement. He was doing concreting like me. He went fucking. The system in Australia was they were like, if you want to sue the company, you need to, couldn't get public health care surgery straight away. So then he was like, all right, I need to get private healthcare. It's going to be 12 months before I could make a claim, before I can get surgery. So by the time it took him a year and a half to get surgery, he had lost his mind because of the pain.
What was the surgery again?
It was just a full disc replacement. So it would have been what you were talking about, a fusion. If you went public health, you could have had the surgery straight away.
Where was it? Lower?
Back, lower. I don't really know. It was
I'll tell you,
in between your bottom of your rib cage and your tailbone.
Okay, your lower lumbar spine. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. Anyway, he lost his marbles. He got the surgery. After whatever. It was 2 years. It was pretty horrific, bro. Even the boys, my mates can tell you, I was my brother's back in a horrible state. We needed to get money for his surgery. I ended up working a second job. I started my own mowing business. Mm-hmm. So I'm saving the money. I'm got a loan from the bank. We helped him get his surgery. It was pretty rough.
Older or younger?
My guts out, trying to help him because it was he's in a mental state, horrible.
Yeah.
After the surgery, he was legit, bro. He's I thought I'd feel better. He's I'm not in any pain, but I'm mentally fucked. And we had to put him in a mental institution for I don't know, it was only a month or 6 weeks, but
Mhm.
he's still struggling mentally. He got $1 million payout, which is good, but it doesn't like
It's
he
what
lost
is
his
$1 million these days,
yeah,
anyhow?
not
You know.
much. Like he
Yeah.
lost his mental capacity to manage his own money, so he has like a managed trust, which is
Okay.
like so it's like a nightmare. But like I think like in Australia, like we're kind of lucky how we have a system where it's sort of something the government and workplace things they've set it all up that you can. They did look after my brother. This is probably like, you know, so there's something right. I'm gonna have to say like the system did protect him and help him get fixed and get compensated and get like even having a managed trust is probably like good for him. You know what I mean? Because
So the government does that for people?
well, it's all the private sector, but the government has sort of legislated like if you fall into this category, this is how it's going for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's been so many cases where it's been an absolute fucking disaster.
It made their
Like
life
people,
worse. You know, like
oh, just fuck, they would have
oh,
just
I
ended
believe
up
it.
like homeless people on the street, you know.
And especially if I
Mentally.
don't know what Australia's like, you know, as a doctor, I don't know the, you know, does Australia hand out pain pills like their chiclets like they do out here? Yeah. So it's like, I
Yeah,
had an uncle who he was in a motorcycle accident. I never had a really good relationship with him. He's a bit of a narcissist, but he got in an accident, got paid out, got hooked on the Oxycontins, and before you know it, he's a full blown junkie, estranged from his family. And his wife, she gave him so many chances. He goes out telling everybody, you know, that she has cancer so he could get money. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's terrible.
yeah,
She
yeah,
has,
yeah.
your wife has cancer. And she didn't. He gets the money and goes, and like, he
What's he doing?
died.
So,
He died without my cousins and his kids, his daughters in his life, his wife. He like, and it's weird to think like you make it that far in life, like you're in your 50s, 60s, and that's when you break bad and shit just falls apart for you. You're a grandfather, and then you die broke and all alone in the world.
broken. And it was the addiction to painkillers. So did he start like
Yep.
I've heard how people on painkillers and shit will be like, I need a fix, and then they'll get like heroin. Did he go that route, or did he
Yeah.
just get?
So probably it started off with like Vicodins, then it went to Percocets, then it went, you know, because a good a, any doctor that doesn't want to get sued, you know, will start you off with the weaker stuff, and then when you go back, you're like, oh, it still hurts. They'll up it and up it and up it. Then before you know it, he's buying, you know, he's doing all the ones that they give him real quick. Like they give him a month, he does it in 3 days or something. Yeah, not even. I mean, I don't know how much they handle, but then he's buying them on the. You know, all his money's going to buying. He's getting his prescription, running out, buying more. Then he starts smoking them, and I guess they smoke the pill, like you know, like it's a crack rack. You just put your medicine, and you just smoke it, and then then it turns into heroin, and it turns into fentanyl, which you know, it's kind of interchangeable now.
Yeah. So fentanyl is made. It is a pharmaceutical painkiller, right? It's just that they're using it in the drug market, like it's a substitute.
You know how? Do you remember have you ever heard of the Silk Road where people could buy? And I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep in mind that there is a bit of a lag between on the other side of the world, but
seems good
pretty
to
impressed.
me.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like synthetic drugs. So like what they were doing on these like websites, like where you would buy things, you know, like there's drugs that you could go buy at a bodega and you smoke it and you get all fucked, you know, like fucked out of your head, but it's legal. And what they do is these chemists, you know, they change the tiniest little thing, and since it's not the exact same compound, it's legal, right? And so these synthetic drugs, you know, can mimic all sorts of things. Like it's really easy to make the same drug over and over again. And that's what fentanyl is.
Change it to get it in legally.
Yeah, it's a synthetic version of a barbiturate, and it's fucked. Like it is, there's definitely an American epidemic, and I would argue, but intentionally so.
It might be like we've been filming. Like, look, for Censored TV, we do a once a month episode now. So we were going in every week almost to film. Now it's once a month, but like, fuck, man, I've never seen the amount of homeless in Brisbane City, my city. Homeless. Obviously, they're mentally ill. So, however they've got to that point, maybe drug abuse, whatever, something's happened. They're fucking mental. And they're clearly, there's so much money. Like the government would give them free housing and money, but they're like, they'd go live on the street and be like, buy drugs and just be high all the time,
I've never been homeless, knock on wood. Never say never, but fingers crossed. I imagine you just kind of get used to it. I mean, I remember a time when I was younger, living in my parents' house and being like, fuck you, I'm out of here. You get in your car, you drive down the street and realize you're like,
I need to take a shit. I'm going back.
Take me back, and like trying to sleep in my car. It's like you really can't find any, unless you want to drive and look, like you can't really find anywhere that doesn't seem sketchy that you're sleeping in your car,
Yeah.
And it really dawns on you really quick. You're like, fuck, this sucks.
Someone was telling me in Australia you can actually apply for a permit to live on like crown land, like government say land, so you can get like an off-grid permit, and it's something like $500, and you can just go and live in the bush. But there's like that you're kind of signing off a waiver, like we're not going to fucking rescue you. You want to go live off tap, go for it. But it's like, bro,
I wish America had something like that.
But no one does it, bro. No, there's probably not a soul.
I think it would be so absolutely fun to go out with a couple other like-minded individuals and you bring your basics, right? And you might have to take some trips hauling it in. Yeah. And just cut down trees and make a log cabin and see how long you could do it with what you brought in. I mean, there's all sorts of things. Solar panels, all sorts. If you actually planned it, that would be like a free house.
It'd be easier now. Like the fucking, like we go out on hunting trips. We go out west, and then it's like the shock and awe, the reality of how Australia was founded, and you think like. Say if you go like southwest from Brisbane 5-6 hours deep into the nation, and you're like, these fuckers came halfway around the world, took them 9 months to get here by a boat. Then they've decided to go out fucking west and create, like, there was no roads, there was nothing. What balls these people had. And then you see
the ones that came by choice. Yeah.
You see what they built and the battle and that, like we go hunting and it's like the perspective. We're rolling in 4 drives and we got tents and inflatable mattresses and like minus 20 degree sleeping bags and barbecues and eskies full of ice and beers, and we're living the dream.
The dream, yeah.
We're fucking shooting fucking deers and eating deers and but this is the thing. Even that's hard. Like you go for 4 days through, rough terrain, hot as fuck. It's rugged, bro. And you're like, fuck, you work like it's a working holiday and it's fun with the boys, but life definitely gets put in perspective. You know what I mean? Like we can't complain. I don't want to push shit on the Abos, all the pioneers of the people who founded this nation. Like they fucking battled. Probably when they stumbled across each other, they're like,
So I have a question.
It just got worse, and then you're like, we're gonna have to kill each other.
I have a good question for you. Now, you know how like everyone does the genealogy, Like they're like, oh, like I don't know how far I can go back. It gets pretty boring, and eventually I just give up. I know I'm Irish and German, like mostly
Yeah.
Irish, a little bit German. And that's my lineage. But I feel like it'd be easier to figure out, are you a descendant of one of the colonizers, or someone that
My
was sent
missus,
out?
yeah, my missus she's a
Based.
descendant of a he he got sent over here, and it was like some petty crime.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember what it was. Like he stole a pair of shoes and like a leg of ham or some shit. Like, yeah, he literally stole a leg of ham and a pair of shoes, and they sent him to the other side of planet Earth. And the dude they had like a family reunion, and there's like 180 direct descendants from this one convict. You know what I mean? So my boys are direct descendants. So, bought here. I think the common thing was you were bought to Australia and you had like, you would wear chains for 7 years and you were like slave labor and you kind of worked. And then you were like, bang, this is your homeland.
Yeah,
You're
and
fucking, is this
it
where you're at?
sounded like a pretty good deal. Like, not for a leg of ham and some shoes, but I think the reason. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason that they were doing that was they had a lot of like affluential British that moved to Australia with big dreams, and they didn't have the labor, so they're
Mhm.
writing their mates in.
They've
Uh,
got, they banned slavery. So they're like, what are we going to do
they're
now?
it was like they're doing, yeah,
Oh,
they're doing
criminal.
legislation, they're inventing reasons, and that
Mm.
after the Americas, they couldn't send anyone to America anymore. They're like,
Yeah.
well,
Legit,
let's send them to
Australia and New
Australia.
Zealand, we would not have had, like, Australia and New Zealand would not have happened if the American War of Independence didn't happen. Like, so there was like, as soon as that happened, it was something like, was it 1776? So we were 1788.
Hmm.
Like, you're talking, whatever, 4, 5, 7, 8 years later, they're going like, right, let's,
Yep.
Captain Cook has sailed around this area. So then Arthur Phillip came and he's like, bang, we're creating a prison colony. My theory is like, yeah, the Poms were up in Canada, but I think they were afraid that America might have taken Canada. So they were like, we need to find another place away from these pesky Americans. That's my theory. Could be
Here's
wrong.
a weird trivia fact,
Let's be
because
honest.
I used to do like for extra cash trivia. And I remember
What
some of
happened
the
to the sound?
questions at the bars.
Yeah.
Like I'd read and like I'd give prizes out at the bars to get people to come in on like a slow Tuesday when people aren't there. Uh, I know that your national anthem is as old as I am. It was 1984. Is it the Australian Fair or something? Australia
Yeah,
Fair.
Australia. Yeah.
That's all. That's all I got.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, we've even gone through this. Like, they're trying to change our 4th of July. Your 4th of July, you celebrate your national day. We have Australia Day, 26th of January, and the Indigenous are like, it's Invasion Day. This is the day that Arthur Phillips came. So, like, this is the thing. Like, a point, I guess, to make. Um, it hasn't Australia Day hasn't always been on the 26th of January. It's had different dates historically where we celebrate the national history and like, but so if you, and so some people are like, well, we've changed it before, we'll change it again, keep the Aboriginals happy, blah blah blah. But it's like, one thing I love about Australia Day is like, if you look up who first celebrated the 26th of January, right?
Uh-huh.
1888. The first people to celebrate it, it was a grassroots. The people started celebrating it, and it was the convicts. The convicts celebrated it. They were like, yee, like they got bought here in chains, used as slave labor, but they're like, we've hit the jackpot. Yay.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Like,
here's the other.
they're celebrating the day that, this prison colony was started. So I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, like, look, I like my Aboriginal mates. I get on with them. I don't think we should change the date. I think they should, the left are just sucks, man. They're gonna create ideas that divide us all.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't want to start
While
hating.
saying that they're trying to unite you, which it's just the
They don't
ultimate
want to
mind
unite
fuck.
anyone, bro.
Yeah.
They want to divide everyone, and then they'll like make every problem so big that they're like, we're the big government and we can step in and solve this problem, while they're just like destroying the fabric of civilization. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that it
I
could
think
be
it's
just
awfully
bleeding heart
interesting.
to idiots. There's so many like there's 10 ways I can look at how retarded all
Yeah.
that shit is. Like, they could
Yeah.
just be like, oh my god.
Well, it's funny to
Cheers,
think it's
go
like
hard.
that they're even doing this in Australia. When it's literally, I think there was only like a thousand, less than 2,000 people came over on the very first ship to Australia, right? That's right. Then they had all the convicts. Took 9 months, as you say about to get there. You do your time, and then what do? Get on a boat for 9 months, and I mean, I heard it was a pinch better, maybe, but it was the same about death rate as any slave trade, and then risk dying on your 9-month journey back home if you could afford it, if you could do all that. So of course you're going to stay in Australia, and then people go, "Oh, you're a colonizer." It's like, well, no. A lot, I'm sure, a vast majority of people who are of white complexion in Australia were their ancestor was brought not of their own decision.
Like, I find it amazing that my missus' dad, my father-in-law, was telling me, went to the family, but my father-in-law is named after the convict, so he has the exact same name. He had like cut the cake. It was like some anniversary, 160 or 180 direct descendants from this convict. Like, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And I think as a Christian and Australiana, where you got to like we celebrate Anzac Day, right? This is our military.
What is it?
Anzac Day. The Anzacs are Australian, New Zealand soldiers who fought in like World War I, World War II. So these guys are like cannon fodder. Like, they were literally used as cannon fodder. The Brits were like, just send the fucking Anzacs. Like, you can watch it. There's a Mel Gibson movie called Gallipoli, and they're like, blow the whistle, and the Anzacs just, get fucking mowed down. Like,
it's not too much. It's around. Do you guys do? Dumb question. Christians, Easter is near Easter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing is like,
even though Easter is kind of a pagan holiday,
I think we make it. It's all about the celebration and the cultural. I think the cultural meanings are the most important thing.
Yes.
And Anzac Day and Australia Day are not necessarily. See, it's celebrating something that's not really good. Like, so if the convicts were celebrating Anzac Day, they're like, we're brought here as slave labor. We're brought around. It's not like, you didn't know that was going to be great, but like, in hindsight, Australiana is like, it's like having faith and optimism, making lemons out of lemonade. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's like, it is something we need. Like, we need this. We need to wake up, and we need to
stop. It's kind of like
bullshit. Like, we got to start making lemons out of lemonade. Anzac Day saw the similar thing where, like, we're looking back and we're saying, well, we used as cannon fodder. We were just walking into bullets. We were treated like shit.
The same with the Irish in America.
But the thing is, we celebrate it. We honor them.
Yeah.
And
we just get shithoused on St. Patty's Day and everyone in America just uses an excuse to get wasted. Pit. The Mexicans get shithoused. It doesn't matter. But 85% of my lineage is Irish, and I do know that my ancestors came over because of the potato famine, and my ancestors were second. My Irish parts of me were second-class citizens who, everyone hated the Irish.
You're an evil man for migrating. Your ancestors who migrated to America. Oh, you fled a famine.
Yeah.
Like legit refugees. You were a legitimate refugee.
Yeah.
You came there for food to eat. Please, is there food over there?
And then and it stinks, because I always sit here and wonder, like, if the place I'm born, was born at in America, my home, my homeland, America, when my welcome as a white, straight, hetero male, is worn out, do I go back to Ireland? No, it'd be even worse. I'd be even less welcomed again. But I need to eat the bugs.
Eat the bugs. I had like Irish cousins when it was just like around the GFC, the global financial crisis, just after that, and like it's sort of like, I think World War II happened, and my granddad was the youngest of like 6 brothers, and all the brothers were fighting in the war, and he was like 13, and they got him a job. So his parents were dead, and they were like, oh, we'll get him a job on a ship, like a freight ship. All right. So at 13 years old, too young to fight. And he was on a freight ship, and he went like everywhere. He went to America. He went to South America, went to Australia. They said there's like a story. There's a legit story, bro. How he had they got a monkey from Brazil, and he bought a monkey from Brazil to New Zealand, right? And it's like a news write-up of this disgusting Irish immigrant. So he was like this young boy who he ended up stopping in New Zealand, in Dunedin, and he was like, oh, this is just like Ireland. So he was.
That's a long way, Brazil to Australia, isn't it? Let me think. It's
I think he went, they went from Ireland to America. They went down to Brazil. He got to Australia. And then they continued to New Zealand, and then he was like, however he fucking got there. But I think the monkey they dropped off in Australia. So the monkey was in Australia, but there was there's a news write-up about him being involved in this. This monkey fucking bringing a monkey from Brazil, and then there's a write-up of him in New Zealand of being like this horrible Irish refugee who are like stealing all the women and like breeding like crazy and shit. Like dead set, bro. Because it
is funny. I like your country's history. It's fascinating. I know I've watched at least 2 documentaries or on the history and stuff, and it's really insane to think you would come over to a country as essentially a slave, or in prison for something like needing to have some food or some things, shoes, and you're in jail for a while, and then you're the guy who is your, I don't know what the word would be. The guy holding you captive is now your neighbor. I heard they gave.
Couldn't have been that bad then. Like the Poms couldn't have been that bad then.
Going from the UK to Australia, I don't know many people other than maybe some UK people who would say, if you had the choice, would you rather live in Australia or the UK? I'd be like Australia all day, every day, because you got all that you can.
Way better than Canada.
Yeah, if you're into the ocean, if you're into surfing, water sports, you got that. If you want to go out and risk your neck dealing with the wildlife, I mean, how many things can kill you in Australia? Like everything?
They reckon everything, but
everything.
I think like when we go out deep in hunting trips, like there are snakes. There's always reports of snakes, in suburbia, even in suburbia. There's brown snakes, particularly, which are in Brisbane, say. So you could get bitten by a brown snake. I've come across brown snakes concreting on different sites, and you'd be like, well, or carpet snakes are not dangerous. There's redbacks. We got like the anti-venom now, so It's more like if you're on a hunting trip, right, and you got bitten by one of these things, that's when you're probably in a real fucking bad spot. Like you're walking through thick bush and you're not gonna get help for hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hours and hours. So, but they will send a chopper to fucking help you. Like they
Well,
will send a fucking chopper to come get your ass.
it's not
Yeah.
something like so. I don't know if I don't know if you know what the Boy Scouts are, but it's a thing that I grew up doing. I'm an Eagle Scout, which used to be a big deal before they ruined the Boy Scouts. But it was a high adventure camping stuff. I grew up in the mountains in
Man.
America, and I would think, couldn't you just like have a first aid kit with the anti venom in like a thing? Could you buy it?
You probably could.
Okay. I would
Yeah.
do that for sure, just in case. Just have it.
I
I'm sure it
swear
goes
we're
bad.
not really worried about it. Like it's sort of like something never in the back of our mind. We went on a hunting trip and we fucking walked. My mate walked on a snake. Like he's like fucking and going, oh fuck, and the snake's like, we're like,
It's
oh,
more afraid of you than
it
you
is.
are
You
of
just
it.
keep going.
Oh man, and that's funny to think, us
But if you're in
Americans,
Northern Territory,
right?
like if you're in fucking Northern Queensland, it's probably next level. That's when you got like crocodiles and all that Steve Irwin
You
shit,
got
and they have
sharks,
jellyfish.
crocodiles.
Jellyfish, bro. Even jellyfish are like worse. Like
Oh,
you just go to the fucking beach and you be like, I'm fucking dying.
I've done some scuba. So the one thing I did in the Boy Scouts, again, the Scouts, I got
That's
certified
mad.
as a scuba diver. And
Yeah.
once my buddy, he was an idiot. He was just breathing too much. He was just all over the place, and he ran out of air. Well, I still had half a tank, so he came up and we did the thing that they, in the classes, we did it perfectly. Came up, did the signal, grabbed my backup. We had to go up through a school of jellyfish. So like we had our goggles on, but there's not anywhere we didn't, like, we were messed up.
That's
And
mad.
we didn't pee on each other, but it fucking
Piss on me,
hurt.
bro.
Piss on me, bro.
That would have been sick, dude. If you.
It's no joke. Like the jellyfishes, and these are ones on our west coast in California that I got hit by. I heard the Australian ones are like, some of them can kill you. Like,
I fucking love that here. I remember I went to Miami and it was like the Atlantic Ocean, and I was like, oh shit. For me, that was like, I was like, whoa, I'm putting my feet in the Atlantic Ocean. That was a trip out. I felt like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I just like, because I'm just like,
the Atlantic Ocean sucks.
The beach, I felt like South Beach sucked, bro.
Oh yeah, the Gulf though. You get up there in the Gulf, and where the calm waters, it's beautiful.
I think it was $20 a cocktail there.
Oh, like, wait, where was this? What,
South
Miami?
Beach, fucking Florida, Miami.
Yeah,
Is it called South Beach, the main like expensive as fuck area?
I've never been to Miami. I've been to probably Orlando, up.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Probably the beaches.
It's hot as fuck all the time. I imagine. I don't know. Is it humid?
It's like Australia.
I've never visited.
It feels like Queensland where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have. So Brisbane's like I live outside of Brisbane. It's an inland city on a river. And then we've got the Gold Coast, which kind of has like Miami vibes. Mm-hmm. So Brisbane might be like if you imagine like a hot San Francisco, something like that. We're like a hot San Francisco.
Have you been to San Francisco?
Yeah, I've been to San Francisco.
You've had some traveling. That's awesome. Yeah.
When I was young and the economy was a lot better.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I didn't have kids, so there was like a lot of cash. It was easy. It was easier. Now it's tougher. Bro, my grocery bill last week was $375 to feed.
And how long will it last you?
Look, like some of the things
It was
were
like
last.
condiments and
So
stuff,
like you
but
can go. Sometimes you go right, and my missus like, oh, it was a big shop this week, and like, but she bought like heat, like say like a giant thing of hot sauce for $20. You know what I mean? So you're like, well,
yeah,
that's gonna last me a month. You know what I
right.
mean?
But like,
You put
but
it in
you know,
perspective. So
those
next
are
week
things here
might
and
be
there.
cheaper. Yeah, like next week, the next 2 weeks might be cheaper.
Okay,
But
so
the
do you
thing
go
is, like,
every week or every 2 weeks? Because
we
like
could
over,
average a $300 a week grocery bill, right? This is to feed 4 people,
jeez Louise,
2 kids, like a
2 kids.
toddler and a
So
baby's
that's
not even.
not even.
Yeah,
It's
not
not
even.
even.
You just
Yeah.
go like, what happened? Like I paid $2.07 a liter for fuel this week, and you're like, what has happened? What is happening to this country? Like, what have we done? What have we done to this world with the inflation? And we're in a, I think like this is the thing I was sort of talking about the moonshine. Moonshine could be the answer out of this because instead of buying a box of beer, which right now, like bro, to buy a box of Budweiser is $65 in this country right now.
I like the idea of moonshine more than like I like to have it whenever I have a friend. I'll take some of the good stuff. I'll take some of the stuff you can't drink. For all, you can do all sorts of things. You could clean with
Mm.
it. You could you could sanitize with it. I know some people back when the whole COVID scare came up and you couldn't get basic things like hand sanitizer, which
Yeah, yeah.
people were freaking out and cleaning their groceries when they got home and things like that because they thought it was like, like an air, they're gonna die from just breathing the air and going outside. They did,
That was
and
crazy shit,
people
bro.
were fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I admit I fell for it a couple times. I
Oh,
remember coming home and being like, I'm wiping things down with bleach wipes, and it was such a joke. I never wore the masks unless like I wouldn't be able to get in somewhere. I always had it in my back pocket just in case it got weird and maybe, I didn't want to have any problems. I'd pop it on just to be left the fuck alone. But people were buying Everclear, which is kind of like the closest thing to legit whiskey moonshine that you can get at the store. It's just like pure alcohol. And they were adding it to whatever the goo is and making their own sand sanitizer.
Yeah.
The seltzer's kicking in, but I love good moonshine. Did you make that yourself or a buddy
Yeah, bro.
yours?
I made this moonshine. So that is I made into gin. So I added it's just moonshine. So it came out 95% pure alcohol. I
Oh,
watered it down to 30%. So I mean a
good.
typical bottle might be 38%. So I just take it a little bit lower.
You just add
Because
water?
I feel like right with moonshine, you water it down, right?
Uh-huh.
And I reckon there's alcohol settle. Like I think it settles or it can
Yeah.
divide. Like it can go water, alcohol, and so you could
If you
drink.
let it set for a long time, the alcohol is probably gonna be heavier. I'm thinking the water would go
Yeah,
to the top.
maybe. So
Maybe.
like I've done that before where I had like a 40% left it, drank, poured a bottle, and then you're drinking it, and then I've like, fuck, I'm smashed, come home, tested it, and it was like fucking 70% alcohol. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was
It's a
like,
different drunk
oh,
too,
like,
I've
I was,
noticed. It's a
so you got to be
drunk
careful.
unlike
Like,
anything.
what I do is when I water down my moonshine from 95, like, I water it down and I'll take like multiple samples, make sure I really mix it up and just get
Yeah.
that. So I want like 4 readings at like 30%, shake it up in between and like make sure like I gotta get 3 or 4 consistent readings, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, on the alcohol content. And it's just moonshine watered down to 30%. I added gin essence to it.
So how do you
Uh,
test it? Do you just drink a bunch, drive, get pulled
I'll
over, blow into
grab the
the
thing.
device,
I'll
and then
grab
you have the police officer tell you what the alcohol?
this. This is another one I made. I've got this one's a spiced rum.
Ah,
I do have a funnel. So this is like the alcohol. You've probably done this before. It's just like a little tube,
no.
say with like 0 to 100 on it, and you put your you fill that, say half filled with your alcohol, moonshine, and then bang, you weigh it and it'll float up. It'll
Okay, yeah.
level and it'll give you a reading.
In science class, I remember doing something like that.
Is the number will be the alcohol content. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like simple. This is a 30% spiced rum.
Oh man, I need to get some of that in my life. I used to have a guy who made amazing moonshine. But then one time we got too drunk off the moonshine. We got in a fist fight, and he never wanted to talk to me again. It was his fault.
Fuck. Yeah. Did you start off play fighting and then it went serious, or it was like?
No, he was like one of those guys that was a bit older than me and bigger. And I looked up to him, as an older guy and more established, had a house, and we'd hang out. We got really drunk. We went to a bar, and I snagged a seat at the bar. It was a busy night, and this chick. It was a chick, and then another open seat. And I convinced this fatty to scoot over one so him and I could sit together. And he's like, nice. I go, cool. Now save my seat. I got to take a piss. So I order my beer, leave it there. I go take a piss. I come back. He lets some haggard bitch take my seat that he's talking to.
No.
And he, as his friend, I know that he could do better than this chick. I've seen it. So I'm like, gross. Yeah. She had like track marks and shit. And I'm like, yeah, she looked like a junkie. And I'm like, okay, it'd be one that I would totally understand if I came up and he's got some smoke show sitting there with him. I would be like, take my beer.
I'm going to sit in the gutter.
I'm going to go shoot some pool. I'm going to go have a smoke. Something. I'm going to leave you alone. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll find my way home. Like one of those things. That's fine. I would respect that. But it wasn't. It was no dude code.
You just went up and just bang. Didn't say a word.
Oh no, I'm not like that. I said, okay. Thanks for keeping my. I said, thanks for keeping. Punch the woman. I said, hey,
that's my new wife.
Hey, that's my wife. But no, I said, all right, go ahead. Thanks for keeping my seat warm. And he's like, nah, don't get up. And I'm like, bruh, like him and I had been friends for a good year, hanging out every weekend. And I was like, really? After I got the seats for us and I negotiated it and I had to talk to that fat chick to get her to scoot over, you're going to give him my shit up to this? And he's just like, yeah.
Fat chick's lap, bro.
I called him a cuck. And he started raising his voice in the bar. And I said, calm down. Let's go talk. So in my mind, we're going to like.
All I want to do is watch what you're doing later.
Yeah. We went out front. Him and I went out front to what I thought was going to be us basically having an argument, then making up, not in front of everyone at the bar. Well, in his mind, we were fighting. So as soon as I walk out the front door, and mind you, this guy's
girlfriend,
his hands were like, when I'd shake his hand, he made me feel like I'm 6'1", 1 inch tall. This guy made me feel tiny. His hand was like a catcher's mitt in baseball, like what it felt like. Yeah. He was a monster, and we had wrestled before, and I was afraid of him. In my mind, he beat me up easy. As we're walking out the front door, he grabs me from the back and just starts punching me in the back of the head. And I see all these pretty girls smoking cigarettes out front. I'm like, I'm about to get my ass beat in front of a bunch of broads, a bunch of Sheilas. And I turned around, grabbed his leg, lift him up. He fell, hit his head, and I just beat the shit out of him. He never talked to me again because his ego couldn't take getting beat up by little Dr. Stover here.
Went up to that bitch, grabbed the smoke off one of them honeys, and was like.
Well, then the cops came, so I took my top shirt off, turned my hat backwards, and I started running through the alleys. And
did you get away?
Yeah, I got away. I went and got in the back of another bar and was drinking a beer. I thought he'd be proud of me.
Anything can happen when you're drunk fighting.
Oh yeah.
That probably is like a tip for people. Even if the dude looks way bigger than you can win. You
Yeah.
can win. That's probably why when you're drunk, you're like, I can fuck it. When you're drunk, you're like, you think you're Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You
I'm
think
not
you
like
can,
that though.
you think you can win.
I don't
And
like
maybe
fighting.
you can. If they're as drunk as you are,
Yeah.
you probably could. Or you could die. Like you could
Or
fall
I'll tell
over.
you
You
one
could be like,
time
you
this guy was
fucking
fucking with me.
fuck, and then just fall over.
I kicked a guy in the face one time.
I have a
Yeah.
scar here, and I was drunk as, and my missus picked me up, and I was like in an argument with her, and I was in a foul mood, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Then I was like, all right, I've got to walk away, calm myself down. But then someone walked past me. I think they like looked like they were being standoffish to an older guy crossing the road, and I was like, this dude's a fuckhead. And so I'm just like, I sort of like we got in a fight, but I ended up like fighting 3 people. And when you were like, I shouldn't have fought a midget. Like I reckon I still did all right, but I was
You fought
drunk.
a midget, did you fight
These
a
were
midget?
these were the good days in Brisbane where there was this pub which had $10 jugs of beer, and I would just get smashed, bro. I would love to get drunk. Like I'd be like, you know how you like
dangerous places, cheap beer, like when they have like the dollar beer nights. That's actually this island, believe it or not. The left one, I got a full pint glass when I was 22. This eyelid is like essentially fake. My eye was torn from my face and was hanging. They sewed it back on, but I couldn't open my eye. So for over a year, I was like this because it cut the muscle. I had to go and have a doctor, and get this, when I was in this office, I'm looking at all his before and after surgery. It's all Asians. It was all Asians who wanted just to have the round eye. He was the best in the business, and he reattached the muscle. I mean, I still look kind of
racist. Asians, they want to have white eyes.
They want to have round eye.
They're racist to their own kind.
Yep.
That's fucking self-hatred.
Well, look at anime. Just look at anime.
People say white people hate themselves. Even I'd say Jews hate themselves the most. But then there's probably Asians really hate themselves.
Well, nobody hates themselves more than a white liberal.
I don't know. Jews cut the foreskin off, but Asians cut the eyelids off, bro.
Well, just a little bit. I think what they do is they take
and black people destroy their own lives. So you know what I mean? So there's like self-racism is the real racism, bro. So like if I say like I'm anti-racist, but I'm against self-racism, bro.
Yeah. Dude, that would be funny. That's the new troll. We should start trolling the left. We figure out a funny campaign, be like, I hate myself. Don't call, and I don't care if I'm a racist about it. I hate my white skin.
I'm trying to save you from self-racism, you blacks who keep killing each other.
Just don't even talk to me. I'm a white guy.
Just, like, line up. I'll be like, we're here running a campaign. Don't self-mutilate and chop your own foreskin off.
Don't even get me on that.
Like Asians be like, bro, you've got beautiful eyes. Beautiful.
See, I don't think that the Asians get any portion of their...
What I should do, like if we do a real long troll, you're real smart. So in about 5 years, you'll be a plastic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're already a doctor. So you just do a few more years.
Dr. Kevin Stover, MD.
I'll like reverse psychology. I'll reverse psychology this. I'll say to all that, we'll go to an Asian area. I'll be like, bro, you got beautiful eyes, so beautiful, amazing. And then you'll be like, sign up in the air.
I'm trying to do the opposite.
Surgery.
I'm going in for the opposite surgery, where I'm going to take my eyes and have them drop down just a little bit, just a shade,
to look Asian.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into Harvard here,
You're Korean.
Yeah,
everyone will assume you're smarter than you are because everyone is actually racist towards Asians in the sense that they assume you'll be smarter than you are.
Do I look
You
smarter?
would pull off. You've got dark, you're tall, dark, and handsome. So with them like Asian eyes, you pull that shit off, bro.
Dusty Bogan, you flatter me.
I wonder the dark hair, where does the dark hair? I have very dark hair too, so that comes from the Irish then maybe.
Yeah.
Or you got Scottish or what?
I'm Irish. I don't have any Scot in me.
Yeah.
My mother's 100%. My mom, 100% Irish.
Yeah. Apparently,
my dad,
the Spanish
75.
went up there. I thought the Spanish somehow went up there, or there was like a Spanish.
Don't tell me that.
Illegal.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not. I'm not white. I'm white, but I'm not white.
Are you sure, bro? Show me your foreskin, bro. Show me your foreskin. Prove it.
Are you sure? I thought it was a family-friendly stream we're fucking
doing. Show me your eyelids. Well, you have eyelids, so we assume you're not Asian.
But one of these days, I'll drop a picture of what I look like before I got the corrective surgery. It was a real pain in the ass. Not. I was able to see just enough out of it, but it wasn't helping me. But oddly enough, I thought I was forever ugly when I look like Quasimodo. Chicks really
did you ever screw
women were. I honestly at the time I had a girlfriend say, if you go, because I was flying to get out to get the surgery by this guy. And since the guy, it's a long story, but essentially the guy liked the girl who was flirting with me. I had no idea. It was the bar I worked at on my night off. He was upset that this girl was showing me attention. I was just hanging out at work on my night off, and he just went up and smashed me for no reason. He was that drunk, and he left his credit card. So when they got him, and he had to pay for the surgery, so I got the best one. I still wasn't very happy with it, but how do you make something go back the way it was?
So he would have had to pay for the surgery, like thousands of dollars, or what? Like how much?
It was. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, I looked bad, you know what I mean? And I noticed it, but But at the time, the chick I was with said that she would break up with me if I went and got the eyelid fixed.
Damn, so the bitch loved you. She loved your eye.
No, she didn't love me. She just, I don't know. It made me look like I was like a prison guy or something.
So she said, you look like Dr. Evil. Didn't he have a fucked up eye?
I think it was just the way she had met me and like.
So you met her with the fucked eye.
Oh yeah.
You had a fucked eye, and you were like,
she liked it. Yeah. I look back at it and I'm like,
you were like full Illuminati.
Maybe I should have left it. Yeah, I kind of looked like that.
We should always, all your photos, we should put a Illuminati eye over one eye.
But it's a miracle though, and this is where God was there for me. It humbled me because I was very full of myself. I was much better looking back then.
Is this before or after the motorbike accident?
Before, dude. I've gotten fucked up, man. It's a miracle I'm alive. I thought I was forever fucked up, and then I got it fixed, and it was a big surgery, but it was weird. I never thought I'd get over it, but I forgot what I looked like before until someone shows me a picture, and then like, look how pretty you were back then. I was too pretty. That was the problem. I was too pretty. And that glass bottle, but it was a miracle that I don't know how it didn't damage my eyeball, like my ability to see, but it took the whole eyelid off.
We had campaigns in Australia where it's like past 9 o'clock at night, no more glasses. So past 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you got to drink from a plastic cup at bars in Australia.
It's better than banning.
Someone's asking, does your guest have a link for a YouTube or any shit? Where are you streaming it?
I am promoting Murder the Media.
Yeah.
I've come in
You could look it up. You could
doing
Google
the
it.
Vil Nomerly show.
That's on.
You
That's on
shared the link.
Rumble.
You shared the link. You and Gavin shared the link on the Censored, didn't you?
Yeah. It should be on there.
I'll
It's if
set.
you. It's on the censored chat. I don't think I didn't share it on the censored
Here,
page.
I'll get the Rumble and the I'll send it to you later. We'll post it on
Oh, stop! They
somewhere.
love you, Stover.
Based.
You're broken back, half cockeyed. He's a survivor. You survive.
Vil,
Nothing will kill you. Maybe you're like the guy from Unbreakable, and you're like, fuck.
Unbreakable.
Remember the Breakable? Is it? Who's that old bald-headed codge from? Oh my god, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, and he can't die. He's just like cruising through life.
I could die. I could die easily. I could die suddenly without the COVID.
That's fucking the real shit, bro.
Mm.
That's when
I could
know.
just die suddenly.
When you've seen people die, and you're like, whoa, every day, man.
Oh my God.
I think about my children, and I'm like, fuck, every day. I'm like, yeah.
Hey, Bogan, I got to go to the little boys' room.
Wait, I'll hold it
right
down.
Back. I'll be right back. If you want to.
So
perfect.
This guest of ours, he's pretending that he's like, I'm Irish, fucking blah, blah, blah. I think he's like really a Japanese immigrant who's had eye surgery. Like, it's all a fucking big facade. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I've never seen such a white person in my life. Like, you talk about white skin. Apparently, I'm white. Now, I wasn't born with a foreskin. Apparently, that's what my parents tell me. But, like, there's a few different whites out there. My Asian friend Stover, my grandma, Jewish grandma, and so all of Japan, Israel, Ukraine is white. Stover, because he's Japanese, is white. But other than that, there's like really, their kids annoy me. Wait till my kid wakes up. My kid will probably wake up. I've got the monitor on. I'll show you. That is my toddler. He's sleeping, so any minute the stream could end. And I have a baby. And he actually is awake. But he's pretty chilled out. So this stream could end any minute, quite frankly. Now that I'm paying attention. Here he is.
Oh, man. It feels good when you hold it. It's worth it, when you hold it that long.
You actually have to hold it in. I was like making a habit of pissing all the time whenever I wanted to piss. That's not good for you. You got to hold it in.
It's not good for your boners, I think. I think you got to have a strong, you don't want to be, be incontinent, I think they call it, when you're in your older years. You got to stretch your bladder out. It's probably good for
really
you.
Suck.
Hold it.
Like, I can imagine I'm 35 and then like I'm just be like,
Yeah, it's like a cleanse.
Like these little injuries.
But the opposite.
It sucks. So imagine when you're old and you're like, I just piss my pants. I don't know.
I have friends that pee themselves every time we get shithoused. Like, they just pee the bed. That's normal to them. I mean, I think we know a lot of people like that.
Wear a nappy.
Yeah, they just piss themselves.
Just sleep with like tape a bottle to your cock. Like every time you get on the piss.
That's a good idea.
That's what we should make. We could make it's like a reverse beer bong, bro.
Yeah.
So you go to sleep with that on your cock, and you have like a jar. Essentially, it's like this.
Oh my gosh! This is
we could go to you could. Yeah. We could be rich,
dude. We should
alcoholic, cock funnel, sleep. Sleep easy. Don't annoy the missus.
I'll be honest with you. When I
get one of them flashlights. Imagine, you know how like all
The
the
flashlights?
incells have a flashlight? So
Yeah,
you like bolt a flashlight
it's like
onto
that.
the end of your beer bong. You like that. Do something like that. Goes down into your jar. But this would be a flashlight.
It's a
And then when you're
flash.
done, flashlight, yeah. So when you're done, you just bang. Maybe you could have like a double attachment.
It's
So
essentially we've reinvented toilet paper, and by toilet paper I mean the catheter. We just don't have to stick it inside your pee hole. It's like it's the best of both worlds.
So if
That's
I
based.
like, if my missus would be like, "Why did you order that flashlight?" I'll be like, "Me and Stover came up with this idea."
You won't be mad about the flashlight when we're rolling in the dough off this brilliant fucking invention. See, what I'm thinking about is I'm not even pissing myself while I'm sleeping because I got so drunk, but I like the option. Like, I'm like, man, I could get way drunker now and not worry about peeing the bed, because that's the only reason I hold off at all. And but now I'm drinking and driving across country, and I only want to stop when I need gas. I'll bring the flesh piss. We'll call it the flesh piss. The flesh piss.
Sell it to Uber drivers as well. So you, instead of driving, you could go across country with an Uber driver with one of our flashlight piss dispensaries. He doesn't even have to stop. He never has to stop.
No.
24-hour Uber driving. Just pissing.
How cool would it be if there's a little attachment where you could just put the tube like out the window? So it's just
bang. Just keep driving.
Out of sight, out of mind. It's just watering the plants as you're driving by them.
It's environmentally friendly. It's getting. And I'm a big believer, like I always say this, I'm a big believer in pissing outdoors.
Yeah.
If there's any conspiracy theory that I do believe in, it's like when you piss inside, there's no sunlight getting on your nuts. So you need sunlight on your ball sack, right? So every time you piss outside, your
pecker needs vitamin D.
Your cock, your balls.
There's a reason it's called vitamin D, everyone. There's a reason.
This is I want, you know how they're like transgender bathrooms? I want sunlight.
Yeah.
Like ceiling, what do they call them? They're like ceiling windows? Skylights? Yeah. Skylights.
I would settle just for, because like, what if you're like, like you're in a high rise and you're like in the middle floor, you're not on the top floor, I would be okay with just like some of those tanning lamps, just kind of sunning my D, giving my D vitamin D as I'm taking a pee. That's the.
And then environment, like you don't need it on all the time. You walk in, you turn it on, you take a piss.
You don't want to get a sunburn. You don't want it to overdo it, because then you'll get dick cancer if you get.
This is why, like all the like Nazis and shit, they're like tan your balls, and I'm like, bro, if you're a real man, you're already pissing outside.
Mm-hmm.
You're pissing outside. You're getting the normal God's natural order has already said piss outside, and you'll get your natural reasonable amount of ball tanning, bang.
I know what I like to do if I'm pissing outside anyway, instead of kind of just shaking it like, into the toilet, you don't have to worry about getting on the floor. I do a full-blown wang chopper for like a minute. Just get it spinning around. Try to kind of maybe get lift off a little. Yeah.
I think like cup the balls too, like bit of make sure you're getting sun exposure.
What I do is I cup the balls from behind to get it out of the way so I could fully rotate the wang chopper.
And if you ever like cup your balls in the sun and the skin starts to move around.
It's not happy, yeah.
It's like I tell my children, I'll be like, do you know where you came from? And I'll be like, and I point to that ball sack, and I'll be like, it's a portal from heaven.
Yeah.
Interdimensional portal from the spirit realm. in your nutsack, and then every time you look at your ball bag, the skin's like.
Well, that's what I think. There's a comedian that was saying, like, when I have kids, I'm only going to let them see me naked one time, and it's going to be when they're very young. And obviously boys. This, if you have girls, it's not, But your sons, your sons let you see. You shout, maybe get out of the shower, and they're like, "Oh God, there's Dad's dick." You do it one time when they're very young, and while you have a full-fledged boner, so they go through the rest of their lives into adulthood thinking their dad has the world's biggest dick.
Mad hog.
Yeah, mad
hog.
And it kind of there's because it doesn't really, they don't realize that it seems so much bigger because they were just a little kid. It burns a hole in their brain.
We had friends of ours, and my son were changing his nappy, and I was changing his nappy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, can I?" They women they want to watch. You know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh, so cute! Can I watch you change his nappy?" And they were like, "Oh my goodness, he has a hog." And
then you're just like, "Yeah, that's right."
I said, "Really? It's tiny."
Really?
What are you?
Actually, I mean, we're thinking.
She had drool dripping out of her mouth. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" You know what I mean?
The shit out of here. I mean,
it's like he's a fucking child.
That's what's coming next.
Right, bro. I'm gonna have to fucking go, man. Because
let's do it.
I'm on dad duty.
Dad duty. Let's do that. Hey, you know what? We'll end it on a high note. I had a great fucking time. Let's do it again soon. And you should come on our show soon.
I would love to come on Murder the Media.
We were saying that I think it was Ville's idea. He said we should have our first guest because this, we're kind of getting the marbles out with this the Ville Nomerly show. But he was like, I'd like the idea of having Bogan on as our first ever guest on the Ville Nomerly show. Now, I won't speak for him, but he did say that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
He's good, and we can pitch that idea.
So many ideas. We've invented a cock piss device today.
I got this.
Imagine next time. That's looks like a prototype of almost what we're going for.
Yeah. See how it's invisible, kind of? It's green a little bit. I'm not going to put that out because I really am.
Bill's a good man.
In the Matrix. Oh yeah, he's funny as shit. I like every time I say a joke, I'm like, that was a good joke. That guy is so quick-witted. He will just he'll put my joke to shame every time, and I love it.
He has so many jokes, it's not even funny. You just don't even laugh.
If he would have been here tonight, every joke you and I would have made, we would think that there's no way you're taking this dick joke to the next level. I said vitamin D,
and he has a foreskin. He's been stretching his foreskin. He stretches his foreskin.
He does weights.
Extra foreskin.
Yeah, he adds weights on there.
He's a savage.
Yeah, he's a savage.
All right, I gotta go, man. God bless everyone who watched this stream. We're gonna release.
God bless
you.
See you guys.